Yeah, human rights and gender sensitization is what we are going to talk in this videos. Human rights and sensitizations of genders, remember. So United Nations states what? After World War II in 1948, a new international organization was set up. What was that organization called? United Nations. United Nations was based on the code of conduct called Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This sets out how a government can treat its own citizens and how they should treat each other. This means that every person, regardless of the personal characteristic like race, religion, gender, could appeal to the protection of human rights and the UN against abuse. Human rights states we are all born free, all born equal. We are all have our own thoughts and ideas. We should be treated in the same way. Never discriminate. Don't discriminate. This right belongs to everybody, whatever our differences is. The right to life. We all have the right to life and live in freedom and safety. No slavery. Nobody has any right to make us slave. We cannot make anyone our slave too. No torture. Nobody has a right to hurt us or torture us per se. You have the rights no matter where you go. Absolutely. In whichever part of the world you are, you have a right. You are born a human. You are a person just like you. Everybody else. We are all equal before the law. The law is same for everyone. It must treat us equally, fairly. Your human rights are protected by law as per UN mandate. We can all ask the law for help to help us when we are not treated fairly or there is some sort of nepotism against us. No unfair detainment. Nobody has a right to put us in prison without good reasons and to keep us there or to send us away from our country. The right to trial, if we are put on trial, this should be put in public. They should also try us, should not let anyone tell them what to do and what not to do. Human rights, we are all innocent till proven guilty. Nobody should blame us for doing something until it is proven. When people say we did a bad thing, we have the right to show that it is not true. The right to privacy. Nobody should try to harm our good name. Nobody has the right to come into our home, open our letters, bother us or our family without any sufficient good reason. Freedom to move. We all have the right to go where we want to go in our own country, to travel as we wish, the right to seek a safe place to live. We are all frightened by being badly treated in our own countries. We all have the right to run away from one country to another. Right to nationality. We all have the right to belong to a country. We all have the right for a marriage and a family. Every grown up has a right to marry and have a family if they want to. Men and women have the same rights when they are married and even when they are separated. The right to do your own things. Everybody has a right to own things and share them. Nobody has can take those things from us without sufficient good reasons. Freedom of thought. We all have the right to believe what we want to believe and to have a religion or to change it as per our wishes. Freedom of thoughts, freedom of expression is we all have the right to make up our own mind, to think what we like, to say what we think, to share our ideas with other people. The right to public assembly. We all have the right to meet our friends, our families at work together in peace and to defend our right. Nobody can take it us from us and join a group as we want. The right to democracy. We all have the right to take part in the government of our country. Every grown up should be allowed to choose their own leaders. Social security. We all have the right to affordable housing, medicine, education, childcare, enough money to live in, medical help when we are ill or old. Let us talk about the workers' right. Every grown up has a right to do a job, to a fair wage for their own work, and to join the trade as on when on basis. The right to pay. We all have the right to rest from work and relax. Food and shelter. We all have the right to a good life. Mothers and children, people who are old, unemployed, disabled, and all people have the right to be taken care for. The right to education is the right. Primarily, schools should be free, education should be free altogether. We should learn from the United Nations how to get on with others. Our parents can choose what we can learn. Let us talk about the 27th preamble. Copyright is a special law that protects one's own artistic creation and writing. Others cannot make a copies without permission. We all have the right to our own way of life. Enjoy the good things, art and science and learning to bring about fair and free world. There must be a proper order so that we can all enjoy the rights and freedom in our own country, all across the world. Responsibility. We have the duty towards other people. We should protect their rights, their freedom. No one can take your human rights. Human rights are the rights inherent to all human beings, whatever our nationality be, places of residences, sex, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, language, any other status. We are all equal, entitled to our human rights without discrimination. These rights are all interrelated, interdependent, and indivisible. In substances, they relate to life, liberty, equality, dignity of the individual. They are entitled to any human being. Remember, now let me talk about gender. It refers to the socially constructed roles and responsibilities of men and women. These roles are influenced by perception, by expectation arising from cultural, political, environmental, economic, social, and religious factor. That is what gender is all about. Gender is a socially learned behavior based on the social expectation of men and women. It vary across the world correspondingly. Sex is natural, whereas gender is socio-cultural, probably is man-made too. Expected roles of men and women: women caring, gentle, passive, respectful, obedient, responsible to home, take care of child, breast modestly, pleased to obey, men not to express desire. What about men? Men, they make important decisions for family. Example, spending, household expenses, how many children to have, do not show their soft emotion, take lead in every relationships and responsibilities. The gender concern, the human right approach. Let me go about what Albert Einstein said. Need for a change in the level of thinking. Problems cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created them. This is what to be strictly followed. You need to change the level of thinking. So then probably you will be addressing different sets of problem, or probably the problem that you are facing would get extinguished in the air altogether. Gender is not a woman issue, it is a people issue. Construction of power of one determines the construction of power of other. Unequal gender relationships stunt the freedom of all individuals to develop their human capacities to the fullest. Undue pressures on the boys and the girls to live up to the established norms of masculinity and femininity thereby. So gender has primarily been viewed as concerning only girls, only women. It's a biological category, as an isolated category not related to others in terms of provisions for equal facilities. Equality is a goal, as a strategy adopted has to focus upon increasing representation of those notions of genders in education material, sensitive portrayal of discrimination that girls, women face, portraying positive role model and enhancing role reversal of stereotyping, neutralizing text of any gendered references. Gender, people are born female, people are born male, but learn to be girls and boys when they grow up into women and men. They are taught what the appropriate behavior, the appropriate attitude, role, activities for them are, and how they should relate to the people. This learned behavior is what makes up gender identity and determines gender roles and responsibility. Gender roles vary greatly from one culture to another, from one social to political and economic group to another within the same culture. So, where do gender roles come from? A person's sexuality comes from within him or within her, making a person heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, asexual, depending on the partners he or she is attracted to. Unlike sexuality, however, gender roles are imposed from without through a variety of social and influences formed during socialization phases of childhood. Adolescence, gender role issues influences people throughout their life. Conflict can arise when someone does not feel at ease with his, probably her, gendered role. What is the prevailing paradigm? Patriarchy, the rules by the father, predominantly by the males. It is a social system in which male is the primary authority figure, central to the social organization, organized around the obsession with control by men and women, devalued for their supposed lack of control. Women needs men's supervision, protection, or control per se. Need for a paradigm change needs to be boldly reconceptualized in terms of the discourse of the universal human right. Gender is not a woman issue, it is a people issue, and believe me, it is a people issue. New paradigm, what does a gender equity means? Right to be born, right to grow up and develop, right to choose with dignity, right to participate in development, need to empower not as a member of a particular gendered category, but as a human being. This is what the new paradigm is all about. Gender typing, the process by which children acquires values, motives, and behaviors viewed as appropriate for males and females within a culture, is called gender typing. Children develop gender based beliefs largely on the basis of gendered stereotypes. The latter are reflected in gender roles. Children adopt a gender identity early in their life and develop gender role preferences as well. Influence of the family on gender typing, parent influences on children's gender. What are we looking into it? Type choices, parental behavior towards girls and boys, modeling parents' characteristic, parental absence or unavailability as the case might be. Let me talk about the extra familial influences on gender roles, books and television, peers, gender roles and self-esteem, schools and teachers as the case might be, gender stereotyping, fixed ideas on the assumption of a group of people. Individual belonging to that group are assumed to have a characteristic of that stereotype. Example, boys considered to be the life insurance for parents. Economically independent and defender of the family has been instructed to the boys, perhaps. The discrimination based on gender. Gender discrimination is a common term where gender discrimination is meant only for women because female are only the victims of the gender discrimination, denial of equality, rights and opportunities, and suppression of any form on the basis of gender is gender discrimination. Any discrimination, exclusion of preferences based on sex or gender, which has effect of nullifying and impairing equality of opportunities or treatment. Causes might be caste, might be cultures, might be religious belief, might be low income status, unemployment, society, family situation, education background, the attitudes, everything cause is the backbone of gender discrimination, is the very basis of gender discrimination thereby. Solution. Now let me address to the solution part. Can we educate women? That is the best weapon. Providing employment to the women, economic independence, empowering them, social confidence, decision making is what gender discrimination solution would be all about. It is all about education, empowering, education, reinforcing, making laws to support such kind of discrimination, against such kind of discrimination. Gender equality refers to the equal opportunities outcome for women and men. Gender equality is about valuing women and men equally to enjoy the same status and are in the same position to access resources and opportunities. Equality does not mean women should be the same as men. Promoting equality recognizes that men and women have different roles, different needs, and take these into account in developing development planning per se. Key principles for the promotion of gender equality. Achieving gender equality is not women's concern, but the responsibility of the society in a nutshell. Promoting gender equality will benefit all in the society. Gender equality needs to be addressed in all development programs and at all stages of programming cycle. Address particular practical and strategic gender needs. Practical needs must be addressed, but gender equality cannot be achieved without addressing the strategic needs. This is very important. Strategic needs to refer to the needs related to the promotion of equal and meaningful participation of boys, girls, men, women in the family and community. The solution for gender responsive education. Gender responsive education is protective, involves both the male and the female learner in working towards gender equality. The reason being that gender is a cross sectional issue. Thus, it should address gender based barriers so that girls and boys, women and men can learn. Respect differences based on gender and acknowledge that gender, together with age, ethnicity, language, disability, and religion, are all part of learners' identity. Enable education structures, system, and methodologies to be sensitive to all girls and boys, women and men. Ensure gender parity in education as a part of wider strategy to advance gender equality in society. Continuously evolves to close gaps on gender disparity and eradicate gender discrimination in any fashion. And that is what we want to look up to. With these words, I would wind up this video. Thank you for watching it till the end.